Hello children, welcome to my online class. We are in chapter number 2 of First Flight, class 10 Cbse, that is Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. In the previous video, we discussed about the inauguration ceremony when Nelson Mandela was sworn in as the first black president of South Africa. While addressing the nation, he thanked all the international leaders for being a part of apartheid free South Africa. He also took pledge to liberate all his people from the bondage of poverty, deprivation, sufferings, and discrimination. Now we will continue with the rest of the chapter. So let's start the second part of the explanation. So my dear children, on your screens, you can see the chapter Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom, and we will start the explanation. And today we'll be doing the second part of the explanation. So let's go ahead with the explanation. A few moments later, we all lifted our eyes in awe as a spectacular array of South African jet, helicopters and troop carriers rode in perfect formation over the Union buildings. Now Nelson Mandela is saying that at that inauguration ceremony, after he was sworn in as the first black president of South Africa, a few moments later, when they all lifted their eyes in awe, awe here means a feeling of great respect, sometimes mixed with surprise, as a spectacular array. Spectacular means very exciting to look at. Array means to arrange a group of things in a particular way. Of South African jets, helicopters and troop carriers rode in a perfect formation over the Union buildings. So my dear children, you must have noticed on 26th January, that is a Republic Day, every year we have this parade at Rajghat. And at that time, this air show takes place when the jets arrowhead formation fly past at a speed of 780 kilometers per hour. You might have noticed that. In the picture also, you can see the planes as well as the helicopter. They all are flying and forming arrowhead. So this is what is written here. Spectacular array means it was so fascinating to see these helicopters, jets and troop carriers with lot of sound, making lot of sound, were flying over the Union buildings. It was not only a display of pinpoint precision and military force, but a demonstration of the military's loyalty to democracy, to a new government that had been freely and fairly elected. So Nelson Mandela is saying that the display was very perfect, the display was very synchronized, but it was not only about the display of that beautiful air show, but something else was also happening. What was that? The military force, they were demonstrating, they were showing their loyalty to democracy. Means earlier this military force or the police, they all were not working for Nelson Mandela or for the people of South Africa. They all were working for the white people. But now, as the democracy has prevailed in South Africa, Now the military force, the police department, they all are showing their loyalty towards this new government that had been freely and fairly elected. Only moments before, the highest generals of the South African Defence Force and Police, their chests bedecked with ribbons and medals from days gone by, saluted me and pledged their loyalty. Now, Nelson Mandela is saying that the highest generals of the South African Defence Force, Army, Navy, Air Force, as well as police, their chests bedecked means decorated with ribbons and medals. You might have noticed the army generals, the senior police officers, their chests are decorated with medals and ribbons. So these people were saluting Nelson Mandela and were pledging their loyalty. They were showing their loyalty. They were saying that in a way that, yes, sir, now we are with you. But see what Nelson Mandela is saying. I was not unmindful of the fact that not so many years before they would not have saluted but arrested me. Now, see, this is called the change of power. Now, Nelson Mandela is saying that I am very much aware of this fact that these army generals, these police officers, once they used to arrest me, they used to humiliate me, and now these generals, these officers, they are saluting me. This is called the change of power. Finally, uh, finally, a chevron of Impala jets left a smoke trail of the black, red, green, blue, and gold of the new South African flags. Finally, a chevron. Chevron here means V-shaped line or strip. Okay. Chevron means a V-shaped line or strip. As in this in this picture, you can see this. These planes, they have formed a chevron shape. V shape. It is in a V shape. Okay, that is called. So of Impala jets. Impala jets, it means that is a kind of jet fighters. The South Africa has this. They left a smoke trail of the black, red, green, blue, and gold of the new South African flag. As in our country, the helicopters, they release, the smoke of tricolor. So in that same way, there, they were releasing black, red, green, blue, and gold. That was of new South African flag. The day was symbolized for me by the playing of our two national anthems and uh, and the vision of whites singing Nkosi Sikelel I Africa and blacks singing Stem, the old anthem of the Republic. Now, what happened after this? The national anthem was played, but the best part was two national anthems were played. One was Nkosi Sikelel I Africa. Okay, it means God bless Africa. This national anthem was played for the white people, which means God bless Africa, and for the blacks, Stem. Stem means the voice of South Africa. These two anthems were played. Now there was no more any discrimination among white and black. Although that day neither group knew the lyrics of the anthem they once despised, they would soon know the words by heart. Now Nelson Mandela is saying that that particular day, although the people who were singing that national anthem, they were not well aware of the words, and that was and there was a time when people used to despise this national anthem. Okay, despise here means the feeling that a person or a thing is worthless or beneath consideration. तिरस्कार भरी नजरों से देखना, that is what we call it. Despised means. So there was a time when people used to despised this national anthem, but now they are singing it. Okay. On the day of the inauguration, I was overwhelmed with a sense of history. Now he's saying that on the day of inauguration, he was, overwhelmed. He literally he got, completely, overwhelmed with a sense of history. He was literally thinking about the history of South Africa. He was full of, that feeling. In the first decade of the 20th century, a few years after the bitter Anglo-Boer War, okay, and before my own birth, the white-skinned peoples of South Africa patched up their differences and erected a system of racial domination against the dark-skinned peoples of their own land. So he's saying that in the first decade of the 20th century, um, after a few years after the bitter Anglo-Boer War. What is this Anglo-Boer War? Let us find out. This war took place from 1899 to 1902, and it was fought between the British Empire and the South African Republic. Okay, between British Empire and the South African Republic and the Orange Free State. And what was the reason behind this fight? Over the empire's influence in South Africa. Okay. The trigger to the war was the discovering of diamonds and gold in the South Africa. So this war was all about, discovering diamonds and gold in the South Africa. So he's saying that after that Anglo-Boer War, and before my own birth, before Nelson Mandela was born, the white-skinned peoples of South Africa patched up their differences and erected a system of racial domination against the dark-skinned peoples of their own land. So what happened after this Anglo-Boer War? The white, people of South Africa, they started hating these dark skinned people of South Africa. And what happened? They erected a system of racial domination, means they started you know um, behaving in a very indiscriminate manner. Okay, they were not at all behaving in a proper way with these dark skinned people. And there came the differences. The structure they created formed the basis of one of the harshest, most inhuman societies the world has ever known. And the structure they created formed the basis of one of the harshest, most inhuman societies the world has ever known. Now what happened? Now these white people ऑफ साउथ अफ्रीका, ये जो गोरे लोग थे साउथ अफ्रीका के, इन्होंने एक प्रकार से एक अपने आप को दूर कर दिया इन्होंने डार्क स्किन्ड पीपल से। और साथ ही साथ वहीं से क्या शुरू हो गया? भेदभाव, जिसे कहते हैं रेशियल डिस्क्रिमिनेशन। एंड दैट वाज द मोस्ट इनह्यूमन। इनह्यूमन मीन्स समथिंग वेयर क्रुएलिटी इज देयर, where hatred is there, manavta nahi hai, that is called inhuman, and that something happened that time. Now in the last decade of the 20th century and my own 8 decades as a man, that system had been overturned forever and replaced by one that recognized the rights and freedoms of all peoples, regardless of the color of the skin. But now he's saying that in the last decade of this 20th century, now what is happening? Everything has been overturned. Now that racial discrimination is over, the apartheid regime is over. Now there is no such, differences between white or black. Everybody is same, and now we are a part of new South Africa. That day had come about through the unimaginable sacrifices of thousands of my people whose suffering and courage can never be counted or repaid. Now Nelson Mandela is saying that whatever freedom we got, whatever you know we have achieved, this is all because of the sacrifices of thousands of my people. So many people sacrificed their lives. and due to their, you know, uh, sacrifices, we have achieved this freedom, and their sufferings, their courage cannot be counted or repaid. We cannot count their, sufferings, and we cannot repay their courage. I felt that day, as I have on so many other days, that I was simply the sum of all those African patriots who had gone before me. I felt that day. Nelson Mandela is saying that I felt that day that I am not the real hero behind the termination of this apartheid regime. I am not the one who has, succeeded in terminating this apartheid regime. No, actually, the African patriots, those people who had been fighting this war against the white peoples, who were fighting against this, racial discrimination, they have actually paved the way. And I am simply the sum of all those people, okay? That long and noble line ended and now began again with me. Now he's saying that all those patriots who sacrificed their lives, they are the real reason behind the termination of this apartheid regime. But unfortunately, they are not alive now to see this, new South Africa. But from now onwards, from me, a new line is going to start. I was pained that I was not able to thank them and that they were not able to see what their sacrifices had wrought. Wrought means achieved. He's saying that I was pained. I was pained means मुझे बहुत बुरा लग रहा था. I felt very bad. मुझे बहुत दुख हो रहा था. I was not able to thank them. मैं उन अ, लोगों का, उन जो पेट्रियट्स थे, जो कि देशभक्त थे, उन लोगों का मैं शुक्रिया नहीं अदा कर पाया, क्योंकि वो आज इस दुनिया में जीवित नहीं है, और उन्होंने जो अपना बलिदान दिया है और उसकी वजह से जो हमें आज आज़ादी मिली है, उस आज़ादी को वो आज देख नहीं पाए. इस बात का मुझे बहुत दुख है. आई एम वेरी सैड अबाउट दिस. ओके, so that was all from today's video, and I hope you have understood today's explanation. If any doubt, you can ask me. And now we'll move on to the homework section. A few questions are there for you as a homework. So let's see the homework. 4 questions are there. Let us find out these 4 questions. What did Mandela say about the highest generals of the South African Defense Force and Police? This is the first question. Second question, why were two national anthems sung? Third question, what was Anglo-Boer War? And the fourth one is, what unintended effect was produced by decades of oppression? So these are the 4 questions, and the answer is somewhere in the explanation. We have discussed, all these answers in the explanation part. Go through the explanation portion, try to find out the answer, and I hope there won't be any difficulty. So that was all. I hope you have understood, and in the next video we will discuss the rest of the chapter. Thank you.
Well, children, I hope the explanation is well understood by all of you. Read the chapter again and do the homework that has been given to you. That was all from this video. Till we meet again in the next video, take care and God bless you.